The delicious sound of McDonald's breakfast sausage hitting the grill. Hot and savory sausage that makes any breakfast a great one. And if sausage is the taste you love, you're gonna love this savory deal. Because now you can get 3 tasty breakfast sandwiches for just $1. A sausage McGriddles, sausage McMuffin, or sausage biscuit, now each for just $1. Hot and tasty, fast and easy. That's breakfast at McDonald's. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
You're listening to the PRO Media Network. The next level in entertainment.
Are you a boxing fan? Check out Ring Kings Boxing only on the PRO Media Network.
What's up, boxing fam? What's going on? You're now listening to Ring Kings Boxing World. That's right, we in the building. Ring Kings Boxing for serious fight fanatic. We here to cover all the latest boxing news, notes, recaps, everything. Boxing lovers we are. In this great atmosphere, man, I have a lot of great fights going on. Of course, we're coming on with the Pacquiao versus Thurman fight. We're going to recap that on today's show, podcast number 392. I'm Big Q in the building with you. And as always, our boxing expert and analysis coming at you with Eddie Too Mean Johnson. He's on the line. What's going on, Too Mean?
What's good? What's good? What's good?
We're doing good, my man. Everything's well, especially in the fight game. And we're gonna talk about this Pac-Man and one-time Thurman recap. Also, we're gonna get into some other news. We're gonna talk about some boxers passing Pernell Whitaker's unfortunate car accident and dealing with Maxim, the other really good fighter that ultimately lost his life. He took a lot of shots and blows in the fight and didn't recover from it. And that's one of the things that Deontay Wilder always warns fighters about the head is not meant to be punched. So Deontay is one of those guys always talking about that. And, you know, it rings true as boxers die in trying to make a living. Also, I'm going to talk about Dillian White. Failed his drug test after beating Oscar Rivas and what was supposed to be a mandatory it's set up to be a mandatory challenge for Deontay Wilder for his belt once he faced Luis Ortiz and Tyson Fury. Then Dillian White was supposed to come on the scene, but he failed his test, and Deontay Wilder had a lot to say about that, man. So, and we seen that fight, Eddie. We're gonna talk about, we ain't gonna break the whole fight down, but we're gonna talk about bits and pieces of it because it correlates with what this article is did. And of course, Gervonta Tank Davis is in action this weekend against the fighter by the name of Centrifugal Nunes, Ricardo Centrifugal Nunes, 21-2. He gets in front of Tank Davis, man. He better have something working with him, man, because Davis is fighting in his hometown. He's gonna be extra motivated to just whoop on Nunes. So, without further ado, Ring Kings Boxing 392 coming at you live, man. Let's get it cracking. Starting with the Pac-Man bout, Fast Eddie, man. Let's talk about that. A lot of people, including me and you, both picked Keith Thurman to win that fight, man. But Pacquiao turned the clock back at least 5 years and just really took it to Thurman. And even Adrian Broner came out. You know I can't stand Adrian Broner. Just the ignorant ass, you know what. But at the same time, man, he made his true statement about he was gambling in the casino and Thurman was gambling in the casino late the night of the night before the fight. And he ultimately got his ass kicked in there by Pacquiao, who took a lot of offense to what Keith Thurman was saying, that he was going to retire him and all that kind of stuff. And then Pacquiao turned around and said, man, I had one of my best training sessions or the best training camps in a while, as he got ready for Keith Thurman, and he really he smoked Keith Thurman. I mean, he knocked him down in the first round, and ultimately he beat him up in the ring. Now Thurman did put on an admirable performance later on in the fight, but that was Pacquiao all day. I mean, he was just seems like Thurman was just surprised by what Pacquiao was bringing in the fight, how busy his hands were, how Pacquiao has the ability to punch at different angles, move around, jump into you after you meleeed him and hit him with a few shots. He got to return the favor. That's old school Manny Pacquiao. But he put on a performance. Eddie, looking at this fight, man, as Pacquiao hands Thurman's first career loss at the age of 40, winning a split decision. Some people say it was unanimous. It should have gave it to him, but he's securing his belt, the WBA welterweight title, as he looks forward, going forward. What do you think about Manny Pacquiao's big victory over Keith Thurman? That's a pretty good damn foe there.
Yeah, well, Thurman really motivated him by talking that talk he was talking before the fight. That's how he was going to retire him. And, you know what I'm saying? How he was going to possibly knock him out. And Pacquiao like, damn, he's like, he ain't showing no respect. He's like, you think he's going to just come and just knock me out? Like, I'm going to show you something. That picked him up, man. And he's like, yo, he put on a great performance. And so I think his style was kind of tailor-made for Thurman. I was going by youth. That's why I was picking Thurman. But Pacquiao, like you said, man, he proved that he still got it at 40 years old, man. I'm saying he got good lateral movement. You know what I'm saying? He still got that pop in them hands, too. Which I didn't really see the snap when he was working out. But I was like, he showed it in the fight, though. So, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Much respect to Pacquiao.
Well, that's the thing, though, Eddie. We had Freddie Roach constantly saying up and down that he was going to knock Keith Thurman out. You know, he was going to beat him bad, and it was and Freddie Roach, people kind of look at Freddie Roach and say, well, he's kind of simpering, and he's old, and he doesn't quite, you know, he's kind of old, and he's and Freddie Roach had sometimes looked like he's out of it, but he wasn't out of it with that prediction, man. He actually really, you know, I mean, Pacquiao showed what he could do, man. He showed what he can do, and it was
sometimes they need fights like that to really pick them and motivate them. Like the young, you know what I'm saying? You know, Thurman's young, so he's like, yo, I have to be tip-top shape, and I got to be extra sharp to, you know what I'm saying, to win against him. So that really motivated him to really train like he should train. You know what I'm saying? With any fight, like most of the fights, he, you know what I'm saying, like when he fought what's his name, Jeff Horn.
Right.
They thought that would have been an easy fight for him. But he ain't really prepared like he did with Thurman. Even though he definitely beat Jeff Horn. I don't know why the hell they gave it to Jeff Horn, but politics and the boxing. But yeah, sometimes like fighters need that motivation like that. You know what I'm saying? To really get them up and train hard like they're supposed to and be focused. You know what I'm saying? Being a lot more focused with a dangerous opponent that they're training for.
You know, that's true, man. And Pacquiao showed, you know, a lot of stuff in that fight. You know, he really woke up a lot of people, and I kept hearing people talk about how a 40-year-old fighter was able to beat the guy, like the 40-year-old fighter, like the guy's dead or something, man. Come on. I mean, the guy he keeps himself in good condition, and then that's how the sport of boxing is. Sometimes, you know, you're going to run into some guy, and sometimes these guys underestimate him. He's 40-year-old. You think it because you're fast, you're 10 years, you're younger than him, that you're going to beat him to the punch. But Pacquiao beat him to the punch every freaking time, man. Seriously. I mean, and it just looked pretty good, man, to see old Manny Pacquiao take the belt and beat Keith Thurman, who some would consider Keith Thurman one of the top welterweights in the welterweight class, a champion no less. He only lost his belt previously because of an injury, and that's the belt Sean Porter is currently putting up against Errol Spence, which sets us the perfect segue into that next topic. Errol Spence versus Sean Porter, fam. It's already been decided. It's supposed to be going down September the 28th, I believe. Let's make sure that it's supposed to be happening September the 28th. We're going to check on that, but that's what we've been getting about. Errol Spence and them supposed to be getting it together, Eddie, in Los Angeles. Yep, that's right, September the 28th in Staples Center. It's going to be a pay-per-view bout for the championship, for unification, man. Unification of the belts. Errol Spence Jr. going up against Porter, and of course Anthony Darrell and David Benavidez is also on the undercard. That's a World Super Middleweight Championship, and you know I like David Benavidez. I think he a hard hitting middleweight. Love to see what he can do. And of course Anthony Darrell is another really good fighter in the rank. So we'll see. But man, we looking at Spence against Porter. Eddie, we talked about this before. We mentioned this before, man, about Errol Spence. Now, they had a press conference with pretty much Errol Spence saying he was going to punish him. He was going to punish him in the fight. Now, you heard Roy Jones Jr.'s comments that he called basically Sean Porter the Evander Holyfield of the 147-pound division. That's what Roy Jones Jr. said about Sean Porter. So, what do you think about the matchup? Oh, actually, I think it's some bad blood or something between Errol Spence and Roy Jones Jr. Roy never truly gives Errol credit for anything. He said when asked a question about Errol Spence, he said, Joe, this will be a fight, or will be his first real fight I've seen Porter in. He said he beats guys with names like Garcia, who was coming up, the guy from England that got his orbital bone broke by Triple G. I'm not going to really judge him by that either. I've got to see him against guys that nothing wrong with him. Now, this was answers. So what are you thinking about Errol Spence against Sean Porter? And then the second question is Roy Jones' comments about Errol Spence's fighters, about Kell Brooks had something wrong with his eye, and he was able to beat him, because of that, or the other situation that all the fighters that he fought had injuries, or he was fighting Mikey Garcia, who was moving up in weight, and he wasn't, all this kind of stuff. What do you think about the matchup between Spence and Porter? And the second question is, what do you think about Roy Jones Jr.'s comments about Errol Spence Jr.?
Yeah, it's a good matchup. Like I say. Porter's definitely he got a lot to shoot for, so he definitely gonna train like he gonna definitely have his best training camp, because he definitely got to be ready for Errol Spence Jr. man. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a whole different beast in the ring. But as far as the styles, like he has, the height disadvantage and he has the reach disadvantage. And I'm like, Errol Spence can box, which he proved in his fight with Mikey Garcia. And he can bang, to the body, head, and all that. I'm like, Porter tried to fight him on the inside. He can get hit with those damaging body blows that Errol Spence throw. And if he try to stay on the outside, he doesn't, he has a reach disadvantage. So it's going to be a difficult fight for him. He's going to need a miracle. If they don't believe in miracles but rely on them, he's going to rely on a miracle. But Roy Jones, he knows what he's talking about. He's on a whole nother level because he's been there, done that. And what he say, what he see, he's like, look, a lot of these fighters don't, a lot of the fighters don't do like a lot of them old fighters did when they fought the best. Always fought the best. Instead of just talking about fighting the best, just fight the best. So they're hard critics when it comes to that. I wish they have it right, because they, like I said, they've been there, done that. So he feels though he got to prove himself. That's that's coming from Roy Jones. It's one of the top dogs in the sport, man.
Well, Eddie, I got the clip ready here. Let's listen to what he said, Roy Jones said, or just a smidgen of some of the clip or some of the things that Roy was saying about Errol Spence coming up against Sean Porter. All right, guys, y'all can spin it.
Analysis on Porter versus Spence. I don't know. Like I said, it's going to answer a lot of questions for me, because this will be the first real fight I see Porter in. He done beat guys that had names, but those guys, like I said, Garcia was light coming up. Garcia asked for that, so he could do what he's supposed to do. You understand me? The guy over in England that got the title from had his orbital bone broken by Triple G, so I ain't gonna really judge him off of that either. I got to see you against a guy that ain't nothing wrong with him. And they saying Sean Porter older, but man, come on, bro, Sean Porter don't kill. Sean Porter is Evander Holyfield of the welterweight division. He bringing it to you. If you ain't ready, Sean Porter gonna beat you. I don't care how old he is, how many fights. If you ain't ready, Sean Porter gonna beat you. So now we get to find out what he really got.
That's Roy Jones Jr. His thoughts upon what you just heard, man. Roy breaking it down, basically telling you about that. Eddie, you heard what he just said, man, about Sean Porter. But seriously, besides that, I know Sean Porter is a busy fighter. He gets in your chest. That's the only way he can do. You know, like you just mentioned, he doesn't have a long reach advantage on him. Errol Spence is going to work him from the outside, box with him. And, you know, and Errol has the power to knock him out. But Sean is a busy fighter. He's a champion as well. I'm kind of get tired of Sean Porter. He's talking a little bit too much, him and his Paul. You know, but at the same time, I understand he got the belt, so he feeling a little extra cocky. But really, between me and you, who wins this fight between Errol Spence and Sean Porter?
I'm definitely going with Earl Spence Jr. I'd say Sean Porter, he got to rely on the damn miracle for real. I can't see him winning it. You know what I'm saying? As far as, you know what I'm saying, style and matchups and all that, style matchup, I can't see him winning it. Now, if he get lucky and get a headbutt in there and cut him open, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how Errol Spence will react to that getting cut. But Errol Spence said, he's like, if you want to start the elbows and the headbutts, shit, he could do the same thing. But like I say, when them headbutts come and you know what I'm saying, you get cut, it's like, you know what I'm saying, a lot of fighters can't handle that. Deal with that blood dripping down their face and into their eyes, messing with their vision and all that. So we'll see.
Let's see. They got it tuned up. Let's hear what a little snippet of what Errol Spence was saying in that pre-fight press conference that they had September the 28th. Family, Los Angeles. Here's what Errol Spence comments on what basically Sean Porter was saying about him.
It's no bad blood at all. You know, I want to be the best. I want to be the best. I want to be undisputed welterweight champion of the world, and he's in my way. You know, I feel like, you know, in PBC, it's too many lines. It's too many lines. It's too many champions, and you know, and this has to be one. And I feel like right now it's like a little tournament going on. You got Thurman fighting Pacquiao. I'm fighting Sean Porter, and then you know you got Terence Crawford on the other side. So I feel like by the end of next year, you'll find out, you know, who's the best, who's really the best welterweight in the division.
Sean, in your opinion, you know, people talk about you being a come-forward fighter, action-packed, but do you feel that your pure boxing ability is sort of an underrated quantity when it comes to those that cover the sport and fight fans around the world?
Yeah, you know, I think it's definitely underrated. I think that, like Errol Spence knows, you know, you're not going to game plan and fight every fighter the same. And so for a majority of the fights that I've had, guys are willing to, they're not willing to engage with me. They want to take steps back. They want to use the ring. They want to hold, things of that nature, which forces me to become more and more aggressive, which is my mentality in the first place. So it really does play into my hands. But you have a guy right here in Errol Spence that likes to be aggressive too. He likes to dictate the pace. He likes to be the general of the ring. I like to do the same things. So the skill is definitely going to be a big part of this fight. And like he said, by the beginning of next year, you'll know who really is the best. It's not going to be just who was the most aggressive in our fight that determines who's going to win, but also who's got the most skills and who's the more talented fighter. And, you know, I'm definitely out to prove that in this fight. I think if there's any fight that I can prove I'm the biggest dog in this division, and also have the best skills in this division, I think that all of that would be proved beating Errol Spence.
This is a big ups for Sean Porter for taking his fight against Errol Spence, because Errol Spence was looking for bigger fights, Eddie. At first he was trying to make a fight with Canelo. That was something that was rumored out there. Of course, Canelo got everybody gunning for him. Then there was a couple other fights that Errol was trying to make that just didn't materialize. Ultimately, he settled back. Sean Porter said, "I'll fight you." He was, Errol was trying to get Pacquiao in unification, but I thought Pacquiao would take Porter, but he took Thurman. Big ups to Pacquiao for taking a fighter that some people believe was the wrong matchup for him. Now, Errol Spence, did say in a previous press conference about Sean Porter that this fight would actually be easier than a Mikey Garcia fight, which will add to motivation for Sean Porter. But I got to give Sean Porter credit. You know, going straight into unification, which is what me and you've been talking about since we've been doing the show about the welterweight division, and everybody's holding the belts and fighting to make money as opposed to fighting for championships. We was champion this charge since we've been doing the podcast. So it's good to see Sean Porter, Errol Spence, and, you know, Manny Pacquiao and all these guys start facing each other for unification, because I think this fight right here will be a major one. Errol Spence and Sean Porter, you'll have a 2-belt champion in the welterweight division, and of course that'll draw the attention and ire of really good fighters like Terrence Crawford and other guys in the welters that's going a piece of that candy. So at the end of the day, I got to commend both fighters for really looking at each other and going for unification, which is what we ultimately was pushing for in the first place, Eddie. So put your final notes on this one, buddy, as we move on to our next topic.
Oh yeah, like I said, the unification champions fight champions is great for boxing, man. You know what I'm saying? This will be only one champ in the East Division. You know what I'm saying? That's determine who the best is. Like we talked about previous shows. Like we want to see who's the best out of all the welterweights, who's the best in the middleweights, who's the best in the light heavyweights, and the best in the heavyweights, and you know what I'm saying, all other weights. See who the champ is, like they used to be back in the old days. There's only one champ.
That's right, and we that's what we love to see, one champion. Going into our next topics, we like to, you know, give a kind of a shout out to the family of boxer Maxim Dadashev, who died Tuesday morning as a result of brain injuries he suffered during an 11-round knockout loss to Sabriel Matias on Friday at the MGM. You can see a really interesting when you seen Buddy McGirt was talking to him about, you know, why he was in the fight. You're taking too much punishment, and he was, if you got to fight back, if you don't do something, you know, I'm going to draw the fight. But ultimately, that's what happened. Buddy McGirt said it's over with. We're not going to do it, and that Dadashev was literally taken on to the hospital, and he succumbed to his injuries. And remember, you know, and this is a sad situation because they said he seemed okay. He was ready, but it's the sport that we're in. It just takes one punch, man. You know, and that's what old Buddy McGirt was saying. It just makes you realize what type of sport we're in, man. He did everything right in training, no problems, no nothing. My mind is like really running crazy right now. Like, what could I have done differently? By the end of the day, everything was fine in training. But Dadashev's strength and conditioning coach and trainer, Buddy McGirt, confirmed his death. And, you know, he'd been with him at the Prince George Hospital in Maryland since he was taken after the fight. And a hospital spokesperson issued a statement on behalf of Dadashev's widow, who made her way to Russia, from Russia to the hospital in Washington suburbs. And they said, quote, "It is with great sadness that I confirm the passing of Maxim Dadashev. He was a very kind person who fought until the very end. Our son will continue to be raised to be a great man like his father. Lastly, I would like to thank everyone that cared for Maxim during his final days. I ask that everyone please respect my privacy during this very difficult time," end quote. Now, his purse was about 75 G's, plus his training expenses, faced Matias in a 140-pound world title elimination fight for the right to become the mandatory challenger for the belt held by Josh Taylor. And you know, it's just sad. Eddie, you talk to us about Dadashev. I know you know a little bit more about him than I do, and also to kind of, you know, mix his story in with a sad story that also happened with Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker, who died in a car accident. What do you think about Dadashev's legacy as a fighter?
Yeah, he's definitely a great prospect, man. He had skill. You know what I'm saying? He had heart. He's very talented, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? He was definitely had a promising future. But it's just a sad situation and the dangers of the sport where you take too many blows and that can change, you know what I'm saying, change your career or it can end your career. You know what I'm saying? It's a sad situation, man. So my heart goes out to his family. You know what I'm saying? My condolences to his family. You know what I'm saying? Because like in that sport, you never know what can happen. You taking a risk every time you jump in that ring, man. So
that's something.
He didn't get a chance to accomplish his goals as a fighter. You know what I'm saying? He was pushing to be world champ.
Yeah, sad, man. Respects out to Dedashev's family, and we read you the story, his quote from his widow, and it's Deontay Wilder reminds us all too well about the dangers of fighting, man. Another tragic story is about a Hall of Fame boxer, Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker, who was I guess you could say prior to Floyd Floyd Mayweather becoming Money Mayweather thanks to 50 Cent's foolishness. Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker for a long time was the pound for pound king. He one of the greatest boxers in history, and he was killed this past week. He was hit by a car in Virginia Beach. He was 55 years old, and the incident remains an active investigation. Apparently, he was hit by a vehicle around 10 p.m. when he was walking in an intersection. Officers arrived on the scene. They located an adult male victim who had been hit by a vehicle. The victim succumbed to his injuries on the scene. He died on the street. The driver of the vehicle remained on the scene with the police. Known as Sweet Pea Whitaker, a southpaw from Norfolk, Virginia, he was revered as perhaps the best defensive fighter in history. His slick moves confounded opponent after opponent. He was elected to the International Boxing Hall of Fame back in 2006. He won titles in 4 weight classes, and he was the undisputed lightweight world champion and won titles at the junior welterweight and junior middleweight as one of the dominant forces in boxing much of the 80s and 90s, and won a gold medal at the 84 Olympics. Whitaker's younger son, Devon Whitaker, it told the Virginia Pilot newspaper that his dad was a cool guy. How about that? And quote, that's all I can say about him. He told the newspaper, I can really say how I'm feeling because I'm feeling shocked. I'm still trying to process everything that's going on, but he was a cool guy, end quote. So Pernell Whitaker was 40-4 with one decision, 17 knockouts. And he was great fighter, Sweet Pea Whitaker. Absolutely awesome fighter. Had some great fights against fighters like Jose Luis Ramirez back in 1988. He had the Oscar De La Hoya fight back in 97. That loss to Oscar. And then, of course, you remember what happened to him in 93 with that Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. fight. But this guy was a tremendous champion and a great fighter. And Evander Holyfield was quoted saying, I'm saddened to learn my good friend and Olympic teammate Pernell Whitaker untimely passing last night. We shared so many great memories. He was small in stature, but yet so big in heart and skills inside the ring. There will never be another like him. He will truly be missed. One of my favorite fighters all time, Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker. Eddie, thoughts on the champion, a great boxing champion and great person in Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker?
Oh yeah, he definitely was a great dude, man. I met him one time at my gym. He came here to train and get ready for a fight he was having in Lang City. You know, he was a very cool dude, man. Down to earth. I even gave him some books and stuff to read. You know what I'm saying? I watched him train. I was like, man, this guy was lightning quick, man. I'm talking about, in person, this guy is quick as he was so damn fast, man. And like I say, he's a legend of the sport. You know what I'm saying? Boxing world lost a good, good pioneer in the sport, man. Well, he'll never be forgotten, man. I think he accomplished that he'll have life eternal here. You know what I'm saying? For the work that he put in. So he'll be remembered forever here, man. Longest boxer on this planet, his name gonna be mentioned. You know, so like I say, my condolences go out to his family. Good brother, man. Very true.
Champion, man, in and out the ring. Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker passed away at 55 years old. It's big. Moving on to our next topic. Dylan White. Dylan White failed, according to tests by BBC.com. The British heavyweight champion tested positive for a banned substance before Saturday's night win against Oscar Rivas. If the result is confirmed, it will be White's second offense. He served a 2-year suspension from 2012 to 2014 for unknowingly taking an illegal supplement, he could face an 8-year ban. And according to Herm, he's absolutely broken. Now, the promoter said White was cleared to fight against the Colombian Rivas at London's O2 Arena on Saturday after attending an independent panel hearing. Now, the UK anti-doping, or UCAD, told BBC that it would be making no comment. It is not known what the banned substance is. Now, the WBC said it has not received any notification about a positive anti-doping test, adding that it is reviewing the situation. Now, before the bout with this situation was dealt with, Hearn added Dylan White was cleared by that panel to take part in this fight. Now, quote, "This is really important because people think this news came in and was brushed under the carpet and no one knew about it. A process was adhered to, a hearing was had, and he was confirmed and cleared to take part in this fight." Now, White, who is the mandatory challenger to American WBC World Heavyweight Champion Deontay Wilder, is expected to release a statement on Friday. Hearn said, "Knowing what I know, I do not believe there is an issue with Dylan White in this situation. Time will tell, and that time should be able to give us the judgment." Now, quote, give Dylan White his time to address the situation, make his statement, wait for the facts, and make a judgment. That's what Hearn was saying about Dylan White. But, of course, he beat Oscar Rivas, a very tough fighter, man, very tough fighter. I mean, Rivas dropped Dylan White in the fight as well. And, I mean, Dylan White hit him with some I mean, you know, he's known as the body snatcher because he's a body puncher. He's known for his brutal body punches. Rivas absorbed a lot of those headshots and body shots and just kept coming. I don't know what Oscar Rivas is made out of, but he was a hard fighter for him to deal with. He even dropped White in the fight. And I watched the fight and I said to myself, Eddie, and I want you to chime in on this. It's the fact that Dylan White to me looked a little sloppy in this fight. You know, in the last several fights that he's had against decent competition, Dylan White is looking really sloppy. Like when he fought Joseph Parker dropped him late in the fight. He almost didn't get up from that. So it's showing me that he used to use some head movement and fight with a little movement or whatnot, but not so much no more. I mean, he's not. I mean, it's just what I'm saying is it's the sloppiness. This is a real sloppy fight for Dylan White. Real sloppy looking fight compared to some of the cleaner bouts that he had. But what do you think about Dylan White's in this case, Eddie? What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think you need to start taking it more seriously, man. Because you're at a certain level, to me, you stop learning and stop trying to improve yourself. You know what I'm saying? So whatever mistakes he made, whatever his fight's looking sloppy, you need to correct that. You know what I'm saying? That's like marketing. You know what I'm saying? So you get better, you're a better market. So, yeah, you got to look good, man. You know what I'm saying? Instead of looking sloppy and getting dropped like that, it's like, well, you got to go back to the gym and work on the stuff that you made mistakes on and then fight. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's what he need to work on.
He beat him. He became the WBC interim champion, so he does have a belt in the fight, and there is still under review. But this is what the WBC champion Deontay Wilder had to say about Dylan White, and pretty much Deontay just laid into him. He said, "Now you," in response to the fact that he failed, he said on his Instagram page, "Now here you have," quote, "now you have a fighter that's been recently reported of taking PEDs. In fact, it was said that he had over more than one substance in his body. This fighter has been caught before using PEDs, so this is his second attempt. This shit has to stop. The bleeding has to stop somewhere. We just had a fighter effing die in a ring because of taking too many blows to his head, and you have idiots like Dylan White who wanted to cheat just to come up in his career because he's not good enough to do it alone." Referring to the death of Maxim Dadashev on Tuesday morning from brain injuries, he went on, Oscar Rivas was his opponent that Dylan White fought recently on drugs, in which Oscar dropped the drug user, almost beat him. So, Mr. White, all that shit halfway work you got put on your ass. I get my money back. He's been claiming to want to fight me, but the question is, if you're doping with a non-champion, just imagine what you'll try to use if you had the chance to fight me. Overdose. Him and his promoter Hearn gave the WBC boxing and Suleiman hell, while all along this MF have been cheating, shaking my head, then have the audacity to try and snitch on his countryman and accuse him of doing drugs when he himself is doing it as well. On top of that, his promoter tried his best to cover this up before White's recent fight. Somebody come and look at this. You know what? I get criticized about saying things like I'm going to kill you and mean it, but without any substance whatsoever in my body. But here you have so many fighters like the likes of Dylan White that flood their body with PEDs just to advance to the next level while committing an attempt to murder, but want to speak against PED users. Shaking my head. Get the F out of here. And laughing my ass off. Boxing's a place where you can hate it but love it all the same damn time. Donkey of the year. That's Deontay Wilder's comment about Dylan White's fight with Rivas and his possible drugging case. Eddie, what do you think about comments by the champ?
Yeah, well, you know what I'm saying? To say all that, I'm like, it should definitely be more strict with the drug testing, random urine and blood tests like Mayweather was always pushing for all the fighters, man. You get random blood and urine tests thrown out the training camp, and don't try to use their excuse. I don't want no blood taken from my fighter. It'll make them get weak. I was like, well, it's be blood taken from the other fighter too, so they still gonna be on even playing field. You know what I'm saying? Start doing that testing and shit, man. Make sure they ain't got no shit in their system. I mean, that's simple. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You got all these other rules, like the WBC got different rules and stuff that they got to go by whenever they fight for that title or defending that title, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Include the random blood and urine tests. You know what I'm saying? Make sure nobody is using any banned substances and shit like that, because, you know, like I say, you had a guy just died, man, from injury for a fight. You know what I'm saying? It's already a dangerous enough sport, man, for people to start using that shit like that, man, and getting away with it. Fighting somebody and getting away with it. I'm like, shit, man. They got to make sure they got to prevent that.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, that's real, Eddie. I mean, that's absolutely real, man. We talking about, you know, Dedashev and not to mention just Dedashev, but the Quebec fighter from Canada who just succumbed to a bunch of injuries early on. So I mean, it was, you know, it's a lot of stuff going on in the game, man. A lot of people know that most of the fighters are taking these PEDs, and it's real. This is a serious game, a lot of money at stake, and this is how they try to gain a competitive advantage. But, you know, that's how it goes in the ring. But we'll monitor the situation, as Hearns is saying that Dylan White is innocent, and this is a miss, and the facts will present themselves. So we'll see. We'll see. Now, moving on to our final topic of the show. Upcoming fight this weekend, a really big one. Well, not so much a big one, but Gervonta Davis, who is a champion, a two-time super featherweight champion. He will defend his WBA title in the championship homecoming against mandatory challenger Ricardo Centrifugo Nunez on the Showtime Network. Now, Gervonta is 21-0 with 20 knockouts, 130 pounds, 5'5", 67-inch reach, southpaw, 24 years old. Putting that on the line against Ricardo Nunez, who's 21-2 with 19 knockouts, 130 pounds, 5'6", a little taller, but he's an orthodox fighter, a year older. Eddie, this is going down on Showtime this weekend, a PBC fighting matchup. That's your boy El Heyman doing it big. What do you think about this fight? You know, kind of give us the lowdown. What happens in this fight? Who wins? Like I have to ask.
Oh, man, Tank Davis, he's on a whole nother level, man. He's an advanced fighter already. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he's a lot of them guys in his weight division not even on his level, man. So he's going to just run through them. And, you know what I'm saying? And he has to spar with a much bigger guy, because the guys in his weight class can't handle him, man. He be knocking their ass out and sparring and shit. So, you know what I'm saying? He's a strong power puncher. He got a lot of skill, you know what I'm saying, a good boxer and everything, man. So a lot of them guys ain't on his level, man. So he gonna just run through that guy. So he gonna, you know what I'm saying, he gonna run through him, like he gonna do most of them guys at that weight division. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the talk is for Javante to move up, and that's definitely real. He mentioned it.
The other guy, he's taking it, you know what I'm saying? He's fighting. You know what I'm saying? He got where he got there. He got to that level to get the title shot for, you know what I'm saying? They ain't just give it to him. He earned it. So much respect to the other guy. But like I said, Tank Davis is on a whole nother level, man.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Davis is definitely a guy that you got to watch out for, man. And he's definitely getting to a position in his class where, he's just head and shoulders above everybody else. And sooner or later, we would love to see him in a fight with at least somebody close to his abilities, perhaps. So I don't know, man. It's looking kind of good, but I got to ride with you on that too. I think obviously I got to give it to Tank Davis. Tank Davis is a dude, man. That's I can say he's a special dude, man. No doubt about it. He's a special dude. So Tank Davis definitely in a knockout on Centrifugal Nunes. All right, and then kind of a little bonus here before we hit the block. Who's fighting Tyson Fury next? Some people might don't care if Tyson Fury took care of the fellow he fought. Now what's the next move for Tyson Fury? Maybe a more stiffer challenger. But that's what Tyson Fury has been given a lot of flack for, his level of competition. Tyson talks a big game, but, besides fighters like Deontay Wilder or Klitschko, I would love to see him against sterner or better fighters. We might get our wish as Chris Martin is a possible fighter to go up against Tyson Fury. Chris Martin, if you remember Chris Martin, he was beaten by Anthony Joshua back in 2016, and Anthony Joshua took his belt from him, his IBF belt back in 2016. And he's been kind of trying to fight his way back up there. Now, Charles Martin is a guy that is reportedly by ESPN, actually not by ESPN, according to a couple other reporters, that it might be Tyson. He might be Tyson Fury's next opponent. Now, he's a big fighter, man. Charles Martin's a big fighter. He's a pretty decent fighter, too. He's a pretty decent fighter, former world champion, trying to reclaim some of that champion advantage against a guy like Tyson Fury. The guy have skills, Charles Martin. What do you think about a possible matchup, Fast Eddie, between Charles Martin and Tyson Fury?
Yeah, I think Tyson Fury will outbox him. You know what I'm saying? Most of the guys in the heavyweight division can't outbox Tyson Fury, man. He just, for a big guy, the reach and his foot movement, the guy is just too dead. He can box too damn good for a lot of these guys, man. I've seen Martin fight. He didn't look too good, man. I don't know if it was ring rust or what, but he didn't look too good, man. Like he got a lot of work to do, man. He got a lot of work. He got a lot of improvements to make. You know what I'm saying? Getting this sharp. And when he fought Joshua, that nigga just gave the belt to him. How the fuck you gonna just give your belt away like that? You know what I'm saying? He's supposed to you know what I'm saying? A little punch and drop you. You know what I'm saying? That's what, you know what I'm saying? A real true champ supposed to get up and make it a dog fight after that. You drop me, like, oh, I'm no champ. Fuck you dropping me for? I'm gonna get your ass now. He ain't do none of that either. Just fucking really gave up after that. That says something about his heart, man. We'll see. I mean, I'll never say what a person can't do. He can definitely improve himself. Anybody can do that. But you know what I'm saying, is doing it is the key.
That's right, Eddie. Words of wisdom, man, from Eddie Too Mean Johnson. Now, one little extra budget one too is Andy Ruiz, the 4-belt champion that took Anthony Joshua's belt from him in tremendous fashion this year, is saying that he does not want to fight Anthony Joshua in the UK because of White's failed drug test. Now, this could mean that they go back to New York, to Madison Square Garden, and do it all over again. And Ruiz is definitely be happy with that, but we'll keep an eye out on that. But that'll do it for Ring Kings Boxing, man. We had a really good show today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification button for more information when we do go live on other boxing events. And as always, like the show, share the show, man, and join us here on Ring Kings Boxing every week. From me and Eddie, Too Mean Johnson, thank y'all guys for joining us. Peace.
Peace.
Are you a boxing fan? Check out Ring Kings Boxing only on the PRO Media Network.
Thank you for listening to the Pro Media Network, who provides hours and hours of free edutainment to you and yours. If you are benefiting positively from our content, please donate to help us grow our platform by going to www.patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. That's www.patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. And
The delicious sound of McDonald's breakfast sausage hitting the grill. Hot and savory sausage that makes any breakfast a great one. And if sausage is the taste you love, you're gonna love this savory deal. Because now you can get 3 tasty breakfast sandwiches for just $1. A sausage McGriddles, sausage McMuffin, or sausage biscuit, now each for just $1. Hot and tasty, fast and easy. That's breakfast at McDonald's. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. The delicious sound of McDonald's breakfast sausage hitting the grill. Hot and savory sausage that makes any breakfast a great one. And if sausage is the taste you love, you're gonna love this savory deal. Because now you can get 3 tasty breakfast sandwiches for just $1. A sausage McGriddles, sausage McMuffin, or sausage biscuit, now each for just $1. Hot and tasty, fast and easy. That's breakfast at McDonald's. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.